So I finished my water and the camera battery died, so I had to take some time to charge it, and now we're back. And what is the last thing? What is this? This is the video of the year. And I guess I thought there was always one missing pillar, because it's like I love film, I'm a video guy, I'm a video editor, and like I felt like there needed to be something around the audio-visual thing. But it's like I just don't watch enough movies, and I don't watch enough TV shows, so I couldn't really do a list of that. It's like, oh, my favorite TV show this year is BoJack Horseman again. It's like, come on. So I come to realize that it's like what my main entertainment is, and I think it's the same for a lot of people, is YouTube videos. And I think it's sort of grown into the modern day television, this independent, often independent, not always, content creation. And a lot of people really like it. I mean, you have that easily digestible daily content that you still get on TV, you have those heavily scripted narrative productions that you see on TV, and you have all sorts of stuff that we never see on TV, which is awesome. So this list is dedicated towards all of the content creators that I think either, need more attention, or just had amazing videos that I think deserve more love, or just maybe they got enough love, but like, why not give them some more? Because they're great. These are the best videos. They put in so much effort and time into them. This isn't churned out, daily, weekly content. This is something that these videos took a lot of time and care and just a lot of work to make. And sometimes, maybe they had a shorter production cycle, but maybe that's because they're shorter videos or whatever. But the point is that they're really entertaining videos I keep coming back to, and I would hope that you go back to them as well. So we got some honorable mentions first. Brain Dump. Brain Dump is the show by Hotdiggedydemon. It's sort of this, this mix of a comedy show, an animated situation, and in-depth analytical video essays critiquing film, television, etc. So sometimes there'll be just an episode, it's just a total goof, right? And I was kind of disappointed by those episodes because I was genuinely interested in the analysis, right? So come the surprise when there's a 45 freaking minute video, first Brain Dump in over a year, or almost a year, that it's about Apu from The Simpsons, and it's talking about how, the whole argument over removing him from the show because he's an arguably poor representation of his race in the show. It just really is enlightening and kind of brings a whole perception to the idea of like, okay, if you don't fall into an identity group, can you play the role of a character that doesn't fall into that identity group? Where does that fit? How does that work in like that whole conversation? I think it's a really solid 45-minute video talking about that. The Story of Tetris by The Gaming Historian. This is a really solid documentary talking about the development and history behind Tetris's localization outside of Russia, basically. And it's a very, very complicated story, much more complicated than I thought. It had a bunch of characters that I think you started to care about as he goes through this narration and tells this story. You were rooting for people, which is something you don't always get. There was no interviews or anything like, actual following of people. It was all just internet research being put into this voiceover work, and it did it very, very well. Absolutely fantastic job. Next one I want to talk about is Hellblade and Living with Psychosis by Leonardo da Sidci. It came out like January 3rd. I forgot that this video came out this year, but it's just fantastic. This isn't I have the thing that's in the game, it's not like that gimmick. It's like, it really handles it well, and it doesn't sacrifice the analysis for that, that personal anecdote. And I think that personal anecdote is very important, and I think that it sort of amplifies the message that Hellblade as a video game was trying to put out there, that psychosis is this real thing, and here's how it affects people, and so on and so forth. And I think just as the game took great care in representing that, this video did a great job as well. And I guess there's an element where of course it did, because it came from someone with the condition, and it took a lot of bravery and a lot of just great care to make this video exactly what it is and put it out the way it is. And I kind of understand why he hasn't put out a video since that one, because that's hard to top. That's really, really solid. Hepyrian's latest video, Sean just killed it. It's called Overcoming Artistic Anxiety with a Motivational Rapper. The video is about a Facebook group. It's about a Facebook group talking about rapper Uncle Adams, who's this motivational speaker that's also this corny rapper, and just people are making memes of him, and it's just this whole weird thing to decompress. It's like, what is this culture? How does it work? How does his success work? What, all these different kinds of things to unpack. And just in the same way that whole subject matter is difficult to unpack, that fandom, that culture, all of that, the video itself is hard to unpack. And Hepyrian's Sean does a great job at basically you know, turning the video essay itself into something that's a work of art itself, something that needs to be unpacked and doesn't always explicitly tell you the things it's telling you. And I think those are some of my favorite videos. One of the entries on this list, when we get into the actual list, does that exact thing, and it's one of my favorite videos in all of YouTube. Sean did a killer job here. And the last one is on the shoutouts is It's Awesome Baby by Scott the Woz. Scott the Woz just appeared in my recommended videos all the time. I'm like, who is this dude? And then finally I start clicking on some of the videos, and they're exactly what I expect them. They're these comedy gaming videos, like the old Jontrons or Peanut Butter Gamers and stuff like that. I don't know, I didn't find it overly exciting, but then he drops his 100th video, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna watch it. And it is just absolutely, it just hits every beat perfectly. It's the peak of comedy gaming videos. It's such a weird genre that came out of, you know, basically one filmmaker trying to do something different, you know, with James Rolfe and all that, but it sort of evolved into this whole genre of internet video. And I feel like that this ridiculous video about such a weird, obscure sports game and how it all unpacks into this weird narrative that like is like so tongue-in-cheek it barely makes any sense, but it works. And the gags in this thing are legendary. It's so freaking good, so I had to give a shout out to that. Alright, number 5 is Dragon Ball Z Abridged episode 60 from Team 4 Star. Three-parter, so I'm kind of cheating. This is actually 3 videos, but it comes out to 1 full episode that's well over an hour. I've watched Team 4 Star for a long time. I like these sort of abridged parodies. I think they're pretty funny, but I think the reason why it's here is because it manages to surpass the original thing. Like, Dragon Ball Z Abridged episode 60 is better than Dragon Ball Z's End of the Cell Saga. It literally fixes problems that like sort of bugged me when I watched those original Cell episodes and makes them better. The character arcs that are better resolved, like the dynamics there are great. You feel like all the emotions that the show wanted you to feel. It's just extremely, phenomenally well done. And it feels like it's like their show. It's like they just made an animated show and just killed it. But it's actually a parody retelling of an original show. And it just is so well done. It's crazy that like the show that did like the Piccolo Are You a Yoshi thing like evolved into this. This is like true like stuff. It's so freaking incredible. Just mad props. It's like the best parody video, like one of the best parody videos ever made. And it's not the best, because I almost said that, but like there's another parody video on this list that like tops it like unilaterally, but like in that field of like abridged parodies, oof, really good. Number 4 is the alt-right Playbook by Innuendo Studios, and it's specifically the episode Death of a Euphemism.
But regardless of what you believe about his intentions, that is how states' rights has been used as a cudgel in service of bigotry.
I think a lot of people look at a video series called the alt-right Playbook and be like, this is liberal propaganda. I mean, I can't argue with that. The man is very clearly not a conservative, right? But I think the thing is, when you watch these videos, even if you don't politically align with him, and I would say that there are some things that he says that I have disagreed with, right? But I think the thing is that you should go into these videos not focusing on the politics purely, but more about the concepts that are being discussed. The point of the series is to talk about techniques that the alt-right has used to garner their following, right? And these are things that I think everyone should be aware of. I think these are propaganda techniques that anyone can use. The right, the left, the freaking advertising companies, corporations, you know, it doesn't really matter. The point is that all of these techniques are valid and need to be understood. A lot of the techniques he straight up says the left uses as well. So I think that the title of the series might be a little bit misleading, but I think this video in particular does a fantastic job about talking about language and how language changes and how people can use language to mean different things and say things and sort of cover up things that they mean, and what happens when that language changes or goes away or dissipates or whatever. It's about the death of a euphemism. You know, a particular group uses a certain term to cover up their true intent, but then someone comes in and just outright says what they want to do and people don't care. Why does that happen? And that's something I think that we should all, you know, evaluate and look at, and I think it's particularly relevant in not just the US's political system, but I think any political system. I think when you go into these elections, which are increasingly more social media focused and competition focused, I think that that's very important to understand what people are saying, why they're saying it, and what they actually mean. And then what happens when someone just outright admits to something and how they garner that following and so on and so forth. I think all of those concepts are very important, and I think you presented them very well, and it's just a very well put together argument and video, and I think it's something that everyone should just watch. Number 3 is from Game Grumps.
Kill a man, take his shoes. Kill a man, take his shoes. Kill a man, take his shoes, so I can be more comfortable. Ah.
Now, Game Grumps, I mean, back when I followed JonTron and Egoraptor and like really like watched everything they put out, right? When they announced Game Grumps, I thought that was really cool. At the time, I made Let's Play videos, so the idea that there are these two like, you know, YouTube gaming titans were making a Let's Play channel was really cool. But I think over the years, I've sort of gotten sick of Let's Plays. I just don't really care, because it's like, I would rather just kind of play the game myself. There are times when people have done things with that format that I think, you know, supersede the stereotype that's applied to it. I think a good example is Matthew Matosis's Commentaries, or pretty much most things Chuck Conroy puts out. But you know, even then, I'm not an avid watcher of Let's Plays and game commentaries and stuff like that. I find them kind of hard to sit through. Earlier this year, Game Grumps launched the 10-minute Power Hour, and I thought for a minute, you know, like Aaron and Dan, like they're comedians, and they're actually trained in comedy now, and like this seems like the perfect like setting for those personalities to shine. It's like they're on camera, they're doing goofs, they're doing gaffes, 10 minutes. Great times. It's like I watch it every Wednesday when it comes out. I don't watch anything else on Game Grumps, so I watch the 10-minute Power Hour because it's freaking hilarious every single time. Most of the time, they're just doing a thing and then just stuff happens, right? But then there's one week, it's like, we're making tie-dye. And I'm like, okay, this is just gonna be the making tie-dye shirts. But then, that is not what happened. And what does happen, like, I mean, the production process for that, you know, to get that done in the time frame it did to get out, you know, when it needs to get out, like that had to be super tight, just because it's so ridiculous. Because basically what happens is they're making tie-dye, but they're out of tie-dye. So they send one of the super mega guys to go get tie-dye, but then he can't find tie-dye, and then he asks people to get tie-dye, and then he gets hungry, and then suddenly he's on a freaking hiking trail doing a little chant about, doing a little dance about stealing people's shoes. It's like, it's just like, it's so good. It's so legendary. Like, everything is hilarious. Every second of this thing is just laugh out loud hilarious. And I keep coming back to it as just this, like, you know, subversion of a format, and just like whose idea was that? Like, who thought of that? And like, how did it end up being this good? I don't understand. It's the best freaking, it's just legendary. It's the best thing Game Grumps have ever put out. It's like one of the best things Egoraptor's ever put out. It's like, it's just so funny. And there are other ones in the 10-minute Power Hour that do similar things, but this one, undeniably the peak of it all. They had some other ones that were like pretty good. There was one, they did another tie-dye one later where they were starting to do tie-dye, and then Jacksepticeye comes in and is like, I'm gonna sue you for stealing the name of my show. So there's that, but like this one is just pure gold. Number 2 is the video I was referencing earlier. It's Serious Lore Analysis 3 by Hbomberguy.
Don't you think you might be reading a little too much into it about what a bad comic that sucks might say? Stick to thinking about real art. Ugh, this is just like that Sonic thing, isn't it?
The Sonic thing?
You're overthinking a blue hedgehog, man. Why can't you be objective?
This video comes off as this super niche video, but this super niche topic that no one's gonna watch. It's about CTRL+ALT+DEL, a comedy gaming webcomic that, you know, a lot of people loved, hated, whatever. I was never into the gaming webcomic thing. I didn't even know PAX was started from the Penny Arcade comic. I never even put the two together until he said it in the video, right? But the thing is that first off, there's an element to this video's release that a lot of people don't know about now, where the whole joke is that the prior two serious lore analysis videos were joke videos about over-analyzing Sonic. But serious lore analysis 3 is like a legitimately the best thing Hbomberguy's ever done, and also like one of the best video essays I've ever watched, right? And it's just incredible how it like plays with what you expect him to talk about. It's like he's harshly criticizing this CTRL+ALT+DEL, right? But then he twists it to be like, but doesn't this say something? And then it twists into this whole other thing. He talks about completely irrelevant media, but then makes it relevant and pulls it back to the CTRL+ALT+DEL thing. And of course he addresses loss, like the whole meme and that whole thing. It's just so meticulously well put together, and his argument is solid, and it really, like, just like how he said, does this say something? His video says something, but it doesn't unintentionally say something. It says it very deliberately and extraordinarily well. It's just a fantastic video, so I had to put that here. The video of the year. And this feels so right. I'm gonna keep doing this every year. I wasn't sure when I was filming this whether I would keep doing this. I'm gonna keep doing this. This is great. So, the video of the year is Shrek Retold.
Somebody once told me the world's gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking down with her finger and thumb in the shape of a nail on her head.
It's posted on 3GI's channel a few weeks ago. But there's a whole story behind it, so I'm not going to go into super detail. There's a link in the description to another video that wasn't on this list, and around like the 20-minute mark, I would say, is when we get into the full-on story. But I'm going to skip over some parts, and the parts that I skip over are kind of going to be like filled in by that video. So basically, Lamhoot, Dennis, was like, you know, forget it. Like, commit to the bit. We're going to Shrekfest 2018. Shrekfest is a legitimate goof event that takes place every year in Madison, Wisconsin, that was started from a Facebook like joke event that like wasn't real, and that Grant and all the 3GI crew turned into an actual like real thing that you can go to every year, and 2018 was the 5th one. And so what happened is that, okay, we're gonna go, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be Dennis, it's gonna be me, it's gonna be Zach Frasier. Zach Frasier's gonna do an interview with me at the time. That interview might be out by the time this video is out, so I'll link that too. We're gonna do all sorts of fun stuff. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna go, we're gonna watch Shrek, we're gonna do the onion eating contest, do the roar contest, like do all the things, just goof around, have a good time, meet each other in person for the first time. It'll be great, right? Then, about a few weeks before on Twitter, on the 3GI Twitter, like, video creators, animators, just cool people hit us up. So I'm like, okay, well, we're going to Shrekfest. We gotta hit them up. So I told Dennis and Zach, I'm like, we gotta hit them up. So I emailed them, and Dennis emailed them, and Zach emailed them. And it turns out, what we found out is that they're doing a full live stream of Shrekfest on Twitch. Problem is that the end of Shrekfest is a screening of Shrek, the original movie, right? And they can't exactly show that on Twitch because copyright infringement. So they came up with the idea, let's remake the entire movie of Shrek. And let's get all of these people, like, do a full-on collab, like the Mama Luigi collab, and there's gonna be a Kirby Right Back At You collab that comes out sometime soon. And we're just gonna do a full-on collab, and it's gonna be a good time. And it started out being animated, but then they got filmmakers involved, and then they got like weird internet memesters involved, and it just kept transforming and turning more and more into this weird, like tumorous thing that's just the epitome of the internet. So I hit him up, and he's like, okay, these are the shots that we need left, and we need this done because we're gonna air this at Shrekfest on Twitch. And I'm like, okay. The shot I picked was them running away from the dragon, and I'm like, I can't reenact this because, like, what dragon am I gonna find? Like, I don't have the capability or the people or the manpower to do that. So then I had the idea of turning it into a machinima goof, and the shot in Shrek Retold, That's the Dark Souls shot, where it's the Dark Souls character with Shrek's face motion tracked on top of the character's face, with Donkey and Fiona just a little hopping on the side like they're running away too, running away from the Dark Souls dragon. That was my shot. That was mine. Zach had another shot that involved. It's a shot, all right. And then Dennis had a very brief shot that appeared later on. That was originally something longer, but as they I feel kind of bad for Dennis, to be honest, because what happened is that they basically edited down the clips to make it fit the length of the movie and match the soundtrack and all these different things. The length of Shrek Retold is the exact length of Shrek the movie, right? That's how it times out perfectly. You can watch the two side by side, and that's amazing. But the problem is that unfortunately some people kind of got the short end of the stick, and I think Dennis was one of those people, and it's kind of sad because his shot was pretty great. But it is in there, and it is great, so there's that. My nose itches. So, that's that whole thing. But then, of course, we go to Shrekfest, and we're like, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to see the movie, and then other people are going to see the stream, and then this video is going to come out. It's going to be legendary, right? But if you watch the other video in the description, you'll know that Shrekfest did not go according to plan. And it turned into something, you know, I don't even know, like, had the event gone well, I don't think it would have been as memorable as it ended up being. So I think the chaos kind of made the whole night better. The whole event kind of got messed up, right? And so we're at this bar downtown, and we find out that they're streaming the remake on Twitch now, but like we were in the middle of Madison, Wisconsin, and like in downtown, and we couldn't stream it, so we didn't know what was going on, right? And then the event ended, and we're expecting this thing to be posted as soon as we get back, so it's like, cool, we can watch it. But then it didn't get posted, and then it didn't get posted, and then it didn't get posted, and it turns out the reason was that the thing that was streamed was like basically just a crappy sort of thrown together rough cut. And what happened was, it was so cool because, you know, if they had uploaded it 2 days after Shrekfest, wouldn't have gotten any attention. But what happened is that they made it better. They made the actual movie better. But then they released a trailer, and then media picked up on it. And then it just kept garnering this attention and attention and attention. And then when the thing dropped, like, people watched it. It went freaking viral, and I'm so happy for it because it's just the most ridiculous remake. It's just the most everything, and it undeniably deserves to be video of the year. And with that, I'm gonna go. I'm actually going to meet a friend, so I'm gonna go meet a friend and do that. So goodbye.
Do these actually work over here? Like, what is this business over here? So does this work? Does it go? Oh! It makes the noise. Okay, we got to do this. This is important stuff. We got to go over here. So we got to go like